I raised over £1,000, and yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do with.
I thought it was a lovely thing to do. Like,
You thought it was a lovely thing to do?
Very selfless, wasn't it? Like, where, you know, it was.
Do you know what? I really hated my last haircut, so I'm shaving. Do you know what? I'm going to shave my head, and I did. Yeah, but again, it's, you know, I just like to have a change and something new and doing something different.
Yeah. And actually, if you want to see what Rachel's hair was like, it's on our Facebook page, on the website. Well, it's very different. But, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Do you think anything? I always say, "Oh, John's a politician," but I say that if it was Jeff Smith or Andrew Simcoe here. Do you think what can the government do to assist us in any way with some of these issues?
I think it's. I think partly some of the things I've already mentioned, which is sort of destigmatising it, making it acceptable, and making diagnosis easier. Because at the moment the barrier is not just getting your GP appointment or getting somebody in school to help, which is difficult because of underfunding, but it's also getting over that hurdle of you know, taking that first step. So I think helping destigmatise would help, and also funding people who work with those with special needs. Because a lot, I mean, I do a lot of one-to-one, and a lot of people do need that one-to-one, but it's expensive.
Yeah. Brilliant. Are there any more questions?
How the diagnosis works is really the question, because I think that's really interesting what you're saying about the language. If you call it a superpower and not a diagnosis, parents would be much less afraid of their children being, you know, being told that their children have ADHD or autism or whatever it is. So I think the language is very powerful. But is it a NHS thing? Is it you go to a GP and they have specific tests and then they'll tell you, oh, you've fallen into this category because you've answered them in this way? How does the diagnosis work?
So the question is, how does the diagnosis work? And it's, if you're an adult woman who's high functioning, it's virtually impossible to get a diagnosis of anything because it's, you know, the resources aren't there. They'd rather help the kids, which to be fair is okay. There are other people in this country with ADHD who they've requested an out-of-area referral, because if they go and see a standard psychiatrist, it might be a psychiatrist, which I personally don't think is appropriate. If they go and see a psychiatrist and they, you know, they've got a job and they're doing normal stuff, the psychiatrist will take one look at them and say you don't have ADHD, and they've never even heard of type 2, for example. So diagnosis it's not impossible, but it's really hard. And I think it's important to mention as well that you don't need a diagnosis.
No, well, that was my opinion.
If you need a diagnosis, if you're in school, it's much more important because people can make adaptations for you. If you're an adult, it's less important to have a formal diagnosis of, you know, I mean, with mental illness as well, you know if you're depressed normally, you know if you're anxious, you know if you've got this problem or that problem, and you don't necessarily need to be diagnosed to tell people that you need particular help. And in fact, I think sometimes for some people it's actually harder to ask for that help whether or not they've got a diagnosis, but having that diagnosis means it's someone else has agreed with you and you're not sort of asking for something that's not appropriate for you, which I know is an issue for a lot of people, particularly women as well. You know, we don't always want to ask somebody to adapt to our needs, and we don't always want to know people to know that we're different as well.
Yeah. Excellent. I was only joking before about the legs, but yeah. Thank you so much. Can we have another round of applause? We've been here all night. Well, can we have another short break?